Hello, and welcome back to the Divine or the Dead Emperor stream, depending on what you want to call it. Haven't gotten to post much videos lately. A lot of tournaments, practice, and other real life stuff. So, apologize for that. Going to try to make up for today by going through two different topics. First one, I'm going to go through PvT. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to show in it, so I'm just going to take a general overview of the matchup from a Protoss perspective. So yeah, I'm just going to go through it. Still mid-master level, me versus Humflux in this first replay. So yeah. Overall, PvT is a matchup where you often rely on AO damage, especially in the later stage of the game. I'm not going to say too much about anything else, just going to fast forward a little bit. Producing SCVs, pylons, and the depots, and all that jazz. First though, my opening. I open pretty much MC1 gate, which means I build a gate at 13. Chrono boost, 14 gas as usual, nothing fancy, just entirely standard play. Another pylon, cybernetics coming down at 17. So yeah, nothing very unique yet. 18 Cella, just entirely standard opening. Where it starts deviating is with this. When you produce the first Stalker, you start chrono boosting it, and the same goes for a second Stalker, and this is so that you can poke your opponent and thus gain a lot of valuable scouting info. Because and that's why I love the build also, because it's safe, because you chrono boost units out at the start, and because when you poke up, you will often be able to see what he's actually building. Like, you can see if he has a reactor, what unit he has, because he needs to pull his units. He can't just leave a couple of marines here and then be safe. Like, he needs to pull all the units he should have at the time. And that gives you a lot of info. If it's just marines, and especially if it's a bunker, then it's probably some kind of 1-1 build. Like, it could be in the all-in, it could be some kind of reactor or Hellion play, it could be Banshee Heat, it could be pretty much anything like that. Well, if you see a Marauder, or if you see a Tech Lab on the barracks or something, then it's probably just standard bio play. Like, it could be 1 Rax, Marauder expand, Reaper expand, 2 racks maybe even, which you see in this scenario. And this is kind of to make up for, if I don't scout in time with my probe, because yeah, I went the wrong way and had to scout all 3 positions before I actually got to his position. If you scout him first, of course, though, I could have just gone and see, does he have gas? Okay, he cannot go 1 racks gasless expand now, so that's okay. And that kind of limits options and such, but if you don't get the probe inside, then it's always useful to poke with this, with this expand, which is why I like it. So yeah, just chrono boosting out a Stalker, moving a little bit out with the Zealot. It's not like he can actually kill it with anything right now. And if Stalkers are faster than Zealots, so it's good to go a little bit ahead and then let the Stalker catch up. My probe just see a marine, doesn't see too much else. So yeah, you can probably just put it back on the watchtower then or something. Just so you got some overview of the map. Now, he's actually opening with 2 racks expand and still bunkering. He might believe I'm forgetting. Sometimes this build actually fools the opponent because he goes Zealot Stalker. But the chrono boost on the gateway should reveal to them that it's an entirely different build. And yeah, no second gas. Instead, you just go probe up to 30 supply, and then you put down the Nexus pretty much. 29, 30, depends. But yeah, regardless though, he felt like he was slightly at risk, and okay, he only has like 3 Marines at a time, so my Zealot and Stalker can actually do a lot of damage with their poke. And that's the good thing about it as well, like, if he doesn't get up the bunker early enough, like, a lot of Terrans will go earlier bunkers, so it will be up by the time my poke hits, but if they don't, like they try to be extra greedy or something, then you can definitely punish them for it and expand while they are contained. Which is what happens in this particular scenario. So yeah, he's going 2 racks though, so like, it's fine for him to have a slightly delayed expand. It's not like he was planning on expanding immediately anyways. Hasn't even started his command center. So yeah, after you put down the Nexus, cut probes, like you cut probes, save up to 300 and then build the 2 additional gates, so you have 3 gates. And then you can add gas and a robo in the order you wish. Like, I think MC adds it right after, but I know he's going, or I'm not sure what he's exactly going right now, but I don't feel scared, like I don't feel I need the robo just yet, because I saw the 2 Marines down here, and that kinda made me believe that he was going 1 Rex expand or something like that, and at least he wasn't going something like 101, because if he had done that, he would just bunker up here and just stay defensive on 1 base. There was no reason to actually move down to the natural if he did something like that, so I know, I just didn't feel the need for a robo immediately then. Instead, I felt more need for more units, so I can just contain them and stuff. His army is starting to look pretty scared. Concussive shells are definitely very scary because it prevents you from ever retreating. And here comes the Marines and Zealot. And concussive shells hits, and yeah. I need to retreat. But like, he hasn't even gotten to start his expansion yet, and mine is almost done. 26 probes to 22. My 3 gates are soon to be done. Robotics facility is coming up. So overall, like, I contained him enough that it's pretty good. And now that I saw the Marauder with the concussive shells and all that, I know it is a bioplay. 2 or 3 racks, I can't say for sure, but I know that he's going to try some biopressure, so to catch up with me, because I'm ahead. So and that kind of gives, like, just knowing that he's going bio makes one feel pretty safe, because you know what to expect, you know what to deal with, you kind of know what you have to have in order to survive. And yeah, so early game is all about like knowing what he's going and how to counter it. Like 2 racks, this build is pretty good. Like, it's not the most economical 1 gate FE, but it's pretty decent, and it's also pretty strong against any pressure, and is pretty good at defending it. So yeah, but like, if he goes 1 Rex expand and he has a very early bunker up, so I can't poke him, then and you scout it in time. Like, for example, he goes 1 Rex gasless expand, and he just produces Marines from 1 barracks. Then the command center is going to be pretty darn early, so you want to, for example, you can just skip the Celt and go 1 Stalker just for map control, and skip the 2nd Stalker as well. Or you can just almost skip units altogether and get an early Nexus, because you know he's pretty much not going to do any aggression before, at least, Warp Gates, and probably not before you have at least a couple of rounds of it. So then you probably should cut a couple of units just to have a faster expand, because you can and because you need, because if not, he's going to take a small economical advantage, and that's never a good thing. So yeah, he's going to move out. I lost my Celt, I think. No, Celt is still here. I should have gotten that, but still. I got a couple of units, and now I'm starting to warp in, so I'm not transferring probes just yet, because I know he's wanting to pressure me, so I'm just staying a little bit offensive. Like, his command center is just starting, and mine is done, and I have still more probes, so I don't need to transfer just yet. I do build some. I'm not sure if that's the best decision, but yeah, whatever. Chrono boost out an observer just to get to get an overview of what's happening. There I see his army. It's not all that big, so I can actually engage it, which is pretty good. Zealots absorbing damage, Stokers just shooting. I should probably maybe focus fire down the Marauders, but yeah, Marauders are like the only real threat to these Stokers, so I shoot them out. I warp in a couple of new Stokers, and suddenly it's like a small bunch of Marines against Stokers. So worst case, I can kite them, and just overall, like, my army is just a whole lot superior because I have longer range, I have higher armor value, and now I'm like pretty much a long way ahead. I have 30 probes, 2 base, mining. My army is now bigger than his. He has like no army at all. And I can just chrono boost probes because once you held something like a 2-rax, you know he's not able to punish you or push you or anything. You can't really do anything aggressive in a couple of minutes, so you can just chrono boost all the eco you want and tech all you want and just be safe because you can't do jack shit. Sorry for the language, but yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. So and also feel free to counter push, like, okay, I'm breaking this 3-rax, I can move out, snipe retreating units, I can try and snipe everything, but so yeah, not the most favorable engagement for me. Should have just focus fired better, but still, a couple of Marauder and a Marine for 2 Stalkers is not all that bad. And yeah, he now realized he needs to retreat. Pushes back, he still hasn't transferred, he still hasn't made that into orbital command, and he still has 26 to 35 probes, so I'm still in a pretty good spot. Got a pretty decent unit count. And I decide, like, I'm pretty sure I pushed at least in this replay. I haven't actually watched it before I was going to do the video. But yeah, counter push, as I said, there's nothing wrong with just doing some aggression and killing a lot of stuff. Now, he realized the threat and bunkers up, and that's pretty good and pretty smart of him. But at least then I've at least forced a bunker, which is pretty good. So yeah, just forcing bunkers is pretty nice. I don't think this ends up with a favorable outcome to me. I kind of overextend myself here. Like, it's good to kind of counter push, but you don't want to counter push a stimmed MMM army with 1 bunker and a second one on the way. Even with Immortals, that's kinda dodgy. So be careful of not overextending into several bunkers, but at least try to make him force bunkers, make him stay on the defensive, make him believe that you are about to kill him. Just doing that and costing him a few extra resources, and just being overall more defensive is always a good thing. But yeah, 42 probes to 30 SCVs, so yeah, I could just go home and I would still be way ahead. Got my gases up now, more gateways and all that stuff. But yeah, that's just overall the reaction to 2-rax in the early game. Now I want to go and show another replay, just of a more, I would say, standard PvT. Yeah, I think this one is good. I'm pretty sure this one is good. Again, ladder, slightly higher ranked, but not all that high. Again, just going to open with the same things: 9 pylon, 13 gate, 17 core, 14 gas. Just MC1 gate, pretty much, nothing else. Now, I believe, at least in this replay, that he's going some kind of 1-rax expand. I think it might be a gasless one. Because I just want to show, like, how normally PvT looks like. Now I scout the command center, I scout him getting out. Like he has only one barracks, he has no gas, his command center is beginning. So I know this is a 1 Rex. And the thing is, you can't really punish a gasless expand, because if he just gets an early enough bunker here, or you can't directly engage it and win often. Like if he messes up or you have sick amazing force field and sick amazing timing, then you can. But overall, it's better to just cut a stalker or cut a sellout or cut 2 units or something just to get an earlier expansion, because it's very hard to punish. But you can indirectly engage it, like you have War Prism all-ins, that can work pretty well against it, because he has low unit count and bunker is pretty much the only thing keeping him alive. He does add fast under 3 racks, which is pretty good. Now, I decided to try something new here, and this is to illustrate my point that, okay, I can't break this bunker. My army is worth more, but bunker is, I would say, the best static defense of all races. Now you say, like, photon cannons can attack without units. Yes, that's true. But unlike bunkers, photon cannons you kind of need to get out of the way in the early game, and like getting a forge before the 5-minute mark just to get cannons is pretty hard, and other races has a lot of options to bypass it. So especially Terran. So it's not really like you have to go out of the way, go out of your tech path to get it. It's easily bypassable for Terran, and overall it doesn't complement your units as well as a bunker does, because Marines, the only weakness Marines has is that they don't have all that great of a health. Like their DPS is sick, but they die pretty quickly. But with a bunker with 400 health and bonus range, it makes Marine overcome their only weaknesses, and it's just sick effective. So it's not a balanced wine though. Like I'm fine with it. It's just a statement that bunkers are pretty darn good, and you generally don't want to try and break them unless you're doing some sick immortal all-in, like what is called hipster style, the one on Team Liquid. But overall, I don't find it all reliable. Instead, though, you could do something like this: that you build up proxy pylon somewhere on the side of the bunker. This doesn't work on all maps, but like, hey, I can do it here. And then you can just warp in and bypass the entire field, and then I can just deny the expansion like this. Oops, sorry about that. Just go a little bit ahead. Go. So here we go. Yeah. So he tries to expand, lifts off and everything, and now he has 8 Marines. And like, compared to all these stalkers and a Zealot, they can't really do anything. You just can't engage them correctly. The army value is just so inferior, they can't do anything. And okay, I can't go past there, I can't actually break this. But now he has several SCVs not mining. His expansion is delayed, and you kind of cancel the effectiveness of a 1 Rex FE. So this is something you can do. I got the idea when I saw, what was the game? It wasn't Talrim Altar, a PvT on Talrim Altar. I can't remember exactly who. But then there was a similar case where he got a proxy pile, and then he went like around and won the game right there. And in certain scenarios, like, hadn't it been for the fact that the bunker was placed right with the ramp, which it often does in Entombed Valley, then you could probably much end the game. Like if it was Talrim and I bypassed it like this, I could probably win the game. But here I can't. But still, I can like delay his mining time, and now he has forced all these SCVs off to like repair. And yeah, he just like, his eco is, well, he's still decent. He got mules from 2 orbital commands, so it's not bad. But at the same time, this was not like an all-in. I just did a 3-git aggressive expand. There's a guide on it on TL which some might want to read. But yeah, and then you can just expand right before you warp in, and my Nexus is not up yet, but I will be able to mine from it before he can. And now, as I said, he has all these SCVs offline, so effectively he has about 17 workers actually mining compared to 24 of mine. And as I still produce probes, my Nexus is going to come up and I can start mining. Well, he is actually pretty much just contained now, and I can warp in a couple of more rounds. Now, of course, the problem with this is that you can often get trapped, and you don't want that. But then again, he went a gasless expand, so this is particularly good versus gasless expand, just to get that noted. Like a reactor marine expand, this is slightly more dodgy versus. But against a gasless expand, he won't have tech lab as fast as normally. He won't have concussive shells as fast as normally. He goes actually with stim first though this time. But still, without concussive shells, you can always pull out. Like I can go right past here, and I will take some damage from the marines, but I won't lose anything notably. So as long as I know he doesn't have concussive shells and marauders, I can pretty much just sit here and delay it, because I know he can't directly engage me. And yeah, I can always retreat if I want. And see here, I can even pick up a couple of SCVs, a couple of marines, just poking, and like this is just a good trade, just killing off a few marines and stuff, because that makes any kind of biopressure later on slightly less effective. So okay, I lose the sentries, that's pretty dumb. I should probably just have had it camped there, but yeah, whatever, I lost the sentry for me. But still, now he only has those marines and the bunker again, so I know now he has some marauders, so I'm getting slightly worried about getting trapped. I still do another warp in, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm getting out of there soon. Now in the meantime, I have 29, 25, so I'm not in a huge lead, but I've started mining, I've started producing SCV probes from both, chron boosting, and like, I'm not very ahead after this, but I'm not behind either, so it's kinda, I would say, a good trade. And again, he has still these SCVs sitting here, so we just have 21 actually mining, while I have 31. And you can see supply 51 to 48. It's kind of even, but still, like, I've nullified every possible pressure. I have contained him a little bit, so he can't really boost out that insane MMM army in the end of the early and start of mid game. So he can't really do a big bio push now because his army is kind of small. Because the thing, like, you normally go like gasless, expand, and then once he gets saturated his natural and everything, he can start really pumping out units because of his sick 2-base eco, but he has never had that 2-base eco, so I kind of nullify that sick unit production and everything. So yeah, overall I'm getting decently out of it, and I'm just chrono boosting out stuff, getting up my tech comfortably. I also know like what everything he has now. I know he has marauders, I know he has marines, I know he's not going anything else than bio pretty much. So yeah, overall it kind of delayed us both, but it's a way like you can do this versus gasless expand and to some degree a reactor expand. It's kind of dodgy versus marauder expand because concussive shells can slow you and they can get some free kills, but like you can still manage it as long as it is a 1 Rex expand. I think you can manage to just bypass, and in most maps like Talor Maltor for example, you can just kill him because you can go right past him. But yeah, that's just like, don't attack head on, attack on the side or something. I guess that's the moral of it. Or yeah, if you want, like, you have two options. You can either attack from the side, or you can just drop units and go sick eco yourself and speed up everything. Attacking head on is possible, but don't find it all that reliable. Immortal Bust is possible, but no, I'm not too fan of it myself, to be honest. So yeah, just going to go into a third replay. Should have one which I don't actually attack in, but instead, I think it's this one, perhaps. I think it's this one. Just like where I don't attack, and instead we just both go for pure eco. Cross position. Again, just same stuff. Like, it's just overall solid and adaptable opening, so why not? You just open standard and then you can adapt to what you see. Yep, again, a gasless expand, pretty common for Terran. I think, what? Oh yeah, that's the two additional barracks to the command center. Didn't notice he was building that on low ground. Now again, I kinda saw that, I'm pretty sure at least, I saw, did I see the gasless? Yeah, I saw the gasless. I saw he had no gas, so I know he's going for a gasless expand. I got one Sultan Stalker, but I then skipped the other Stalker because... What? Why did I go traditional gates? I thought that this was the one I didn't pressure. Now I need to look a little bit. Or I guess I just... I should have gone an earlier expand. I guess I can at least use this to show that I'm behind. 25 to 24 probes, like 25 probes to 24 SCVs is pretty bad versus Terran, because with 2 mules, like mules from 2 orbitals, you pretty much need like almost a 10 probe lead. You need 6, 7 at least, and I'm like 1 ahead. So yeah, and I still don't have my Nexus up, so don't do this. You're going to get pretty behind if you do this. Instead, cut units and just expand. That was disappointing. I guess I just can go through the replay with Mill Dice or something. Yeah, might as well. Now I'll lose this one, of course. Mill Dice Star played him in our own tournament, the Dead Gaming Crypto Crush. He is a Grandmaster, so of course I lost for me. But yeah, it's Teller Maltar. It's a very long way to go cross position, blah blah blah. Open up the same. Nothing special, like, I think that pile is kind of badly placed, but whatever. Go again, scout, gas, blah blah blah. He goes for Tech Lab expand, I believe he does. Yep. And then he gets a Marauder and a Reaper. Never actually seen someone get a Marauder and then a Reaper. At least he did in one of the games. I think he did in this one as well. But yeah, whatever. It's a Tech Lab expand. Expanding fairly early, so... Yep, skip the second Stalker. Just ignoring it. And I just go out and try and see if I can get some map control, see if he pushes or anything. Yep, there is Reapers coming out. I could probably push him though. He doesn't have all that much defense, but as you see, one Rex expand up pretty darn early. My Nexus is like 14 seconds in, and his is 51. So if you you have to at least skip one Stalker, or you're going to get pretty darn far behind. Ideally, I would probably skip the Zealot and just go to one Stalker or something. But yeah, you just need a pretty early command center, an early Nexus, if you want to keep up with the Terran Eco in that way. 24 to 20 probes, so we're kind of even. Just producing. I I went to both the watchtowers, and I'm sending a probe out just so I can see what's happening. Here comes this Reaper. Get a couple of shots off it, and then he gets my 4th probe. That sucks, but yeah. And that's pretty good with Reapers. Terran should use more Reapers. Like they kind of make you vulnerable if you go straight to them. But if you go slightly later, then you can just kind of deny vision entirely, because you need your opponent to stay in base and protect the mineral lines. And any probes he might send out, you can just go and snipe and stuff. So that's pretty good by him. Yeah. So we just kind of go without pressure. He gets a bunker, so he's safe from pretty much anything. And yeah, you should just, like, if you know you're this safe, then you should just chrono boost, and chrono boost a lot of probes. Nothing wrong with chrono boosting probes. Getting up a fairly early robo again. Chrono boosting out the observer so I can know exactly what he's going. Like, I know he's going bio, but I don't know. Like, is he going to push out now? Is he taking a third? Is he going anything special, like ghost push or something? And yeah, Stalker there to guard the Reaper. And that's good knowing. And then I just get an Immortal, because the Immortals are pretty darn good when it comes to countering Marauders and Marines in small numbers. And now, for mid-game, or like the end of early game into the mid-game, what I like to do is double forge. Yeah, I cancelled that and built a new one. That was a misclick. It was late in the evening, so sorry about that. Double forge. The advantage of it, like, double forge delays your other tech or cuts into your army depending on what you choose, but in return, it lets gateway units fight Marine Marauder armies a lot more cost efficient, and it lets you keep on to just gateway for a little bit longer. Then again, like, as I said, it kind of delays tech as well, so it kind of delays just both of the things. So in the end, someone would probably say that it kind of gets you nowhere. Like, okay, you can hold on to gateway units longer, but your tech is longer as well, so it doesn't give any benefits. And that's kind of where they're wrong, because although it doesn't give any immediate benefits, in the late game, having those fast upgrades are just so vital versus Terran. Being an upgrader head, which charges, for example, just makes them so durable that it's so hard for Terran to actually win it. So although the immediate effect is pretty much nothing, it starts in the mid game, and then in the late game really adds up to give your army a much stronger and scarier look than it would otherwise. So yeah, that's pretty much why I go it, because it sets me up for late game so very nicely, that even if it delays the Colossus, I mean, or just something that doesn't really matter all that much. So double forge, something I definitely would recommend. You of course need to be careful, like if he's going 101 all in or some kind of sick timing Marine Marauder or something, then you might want to skip it for a faster Colossus or something. But if it's just general macro from both sides, like you don't go for anything sickening, then yeah, then just go for it. It's pretty good in any kind of macro-oriented game. Of course, you can have a macro-oriented game with timings as well, but you get my point. Like, if he is going aggressive, then he delays something himself, and then you can afford delaying the double forge as well. So, and then it's better with Colossus. So, now, of course, mid game, Colossus or High Templar tech. I would say that's kind of about preference. Like, Colossus is probably the overall most newbie friendly and overall the most standard and easiest to use, but there's nothing wrong with going High Templar first either. It just means that you need to kind of cut on your stalkers and go for fast Charge-a-lot instead. Because Charge-a-lots don't cost gas, which again gives you the gas you need for High Templars. So yeah, it's all about preference really. You can go Stalker Colossus or Charge-a-lot High Templar. It's like, High temper is slightly weaker versus ghost timings and such, but if you know he is not going for that, then it's pretty good. Like, especially if he's just going standard Marine Marauder Medivac, then you can especially be aggressive and hit the timing where he doesn't have ghost, and yeah, you can probably win with it. Or you can just go safe and then he won't be able to attack you because he doesn't have ghost, and just pure Marauder Marine isn't all that good versus high tempers. And if you got charge loss with it, then it becomes increasingly harder. So it's all kind of about, like, Colossus is the overall, it doesn't have a big weaknesses. Like, even if he goes Vikings, it's not like he's going to rush to them insanely and do a push with Vikings, or yeah, like Colossus, if with good control and 40 land Stoker usage and whatever, it's probably the most overall solid. It doesn't have a hard counter like High Temper have with Ghost in the same way. But overall, I would say with good control and good decision making and everything, you can pretty much go both. So it's kind of about what you're most comfortable with. If you're most comfortable with microing and splitting high tempers from EMP and stuff, or if you're most comfortable about force fields and Stoker focus fire and moving Colossus back and forth and stuff, then you can go that. So it's kind of a preference. More probes, more probes, more probes. I have the observer with right outside the store the entire time. I feel pretty safe, so I might as well break down the rocks and see if I can get a very early extra greedy expansion, which you will see doesn't really work in my favor. Moves out. But yeah, I don't really have a good replay of it, it seems, but or I could probably go. Well, yeah, we can wait for that. First off, mid game, going to try and take an extra early greedy third. He uses his Medivac Skin Vision snapping in the simulator, which is pretty smart and good. And it's not like I can really threaten him in that position anyway, so that's pretty good. At the same time, he sends Marine around just scouting, seeing what I have and stuff. And now we notice that I have a fast third, and yeah, he knows how to abuse it, to say it that way. Because now he moves his army to the third, parts of it, and then instead of a single Medivac, he does a double Medivac drop. And this is really something you need to be aware of. Double Medivac drops are just so good in midi game, and are so hard to deal with that, like, almost always you should have Stokers patrolling this area or something, like knowing exactly how much you can split up your army to deal with this bunch and this coming bunch here in a split second is very, very hard. Which again is why I would recommend having Stalkers and Patrol or something. I eventually get that, but I'm kind of late with it. I'm kind of panicking, and everything is just falling apart. And this goes to show how much a map awareness and how good decision making you need, and control you need against good terrains. Like, drops are deadly. That's kind of the message here. If you don't know how to handle drops, you're going to get fucked over by good terrains. Again, pardon my my language, but still, that's the truth of it. Like, you have to handle this, or you can't win a good terrain. And this is where my problem often with terrain lies. I'm not very good multitasking, and I'm not very good at decision making either. Like, I don't know how much I should split up, and I'm like, panicking. I am unfortunately one of those one ball type, and I'm like going for them back, and I'm like, but he's coming here and he's coming there, and like, now I'm down to 56 probes and he has 60 SCVs, and his third is up now. So he even, like, I kill his army, but he managed to snipe my third, and now I'm like, oh shit. Now I'm pretty far behind because he has more SCVs than I have probes. He's going to get mules from 3 command centers, and he has 3 base saturation, and this gets him pretty far ahead. So yeah, that's like, I just lost the game right here. because I didn't handle the drop correctly, I lost the game. Pretty much. Like, there's a chance, of course, of coming back, but the chance is rather slim, so. The only advantage I have at the moment is slightly in tech, and because it doesn't have Vikings, a whole lot of them yet, and I have slightly better upgrades, but that's it. And that kind of, it doesn't weigh up for this kind of economical difference, unfortunately. So yeah, moral of the story: remember handling drops. I tried to get some cannons, but it doesn't work. You can see later it just kind of drops in the middle and then just stim and snipe both, and all kind of goes bad. And then on his third drop, I actually get myself some patrolling stalkers, and that works pretty well. So his army isn't actually looking all that scary, but he just has the eco now to pretty much pump out non-stop. Like, look at all these Raxes. I am just so far behind. Yes, all these Raxes compared to like 3 gates. I'm pretty sure I add 2 gates more shortly, but still, I'm not even close to his eco. 70 SCVs, 3 mules versus 61 probes. Had I had like 80 probes and 4 bases, then that would pretty much equal this. So he's even getting his fort up now. So yeah, pretty much lost the game right there. And yeah, there's a later engagement where I just lose because of that problem, because I got fucked up in the early game. And yeah, I lost the game that way. Now it didn't really go into late game there, so yeah, I think this one. I suppose this is one of the ones I'm in aggressive, but I'm just going to show like how late game should look, and I think this one is pretty decent. Again, back to first replay. Fast forwarding. And yeah, we've all been through this. This is where he goes to 2 racks, and then I pretty much hold it, and after that I overextend myself with the counter push, and then it kinda evens out, but I'm still ahead in eco, so his army is starting to threaten me a little bit because of the counter and stuff, but overall we kinda even out. I'm slightly ahead in eco, but that's it pretty much. So yeah, go on, he's 2 racks me, go. Boom. Saving my Stoker with some fancy micro, and then let's get shit down. 37 to 27, which is where you want to be as Protoss. So I'm slightly ahead. And here I'm pretty sure I've extended myself a little bit, like a snipe that, but he gets my Marauder and just fuck up everything. Lose a couple of sentries, and that was bad. That was like the worst engagement ever. He could probably threaten me with a push now. It couldn't normally, I was not only economically ahead, but I had like this safe army which would normally protect me, but now it's more threatening, so that was kinda bad for me. Even stacking some minerals and panicking and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, and then after I had a robotics facility, I also had Twilight Council. Normally I add a Twilight Council after, slightly after the robotics, because my one upgrades are soon to be finished, and I want the Twilight Council so I can get to 2-2 and potentially charge. But yeah, it doesn't really count for this game. Whatever. Just ignore that. So everything is slightly delayed, but blah blah blah. Getting Colossus, getting some salts because they need to save gas for upgrades and everything. Should be getting a further run now. If it's pure macro game, then taking a further round, 13-14 minutes, is pretty good. Even as early as 12 or 10 is pretty good. But since this is such an aggressive game with counters everywhere, then it's kinda okay to be slightly later. Now that was some bad force field. I wanted to block off the entire thing, but overall it scared him enough, so I got the Colossus out in time. He snipes it, but at what cost? Like, my Charger Lots and Immortals eventually cleaned it up, so I lost my Colossus, but now I'm safe from his army again because I just cleaned it up, so. And because I feel safe, I'm going to get my third. Again, delayed, but can't be helped. And then, as you get your third, you should add down Temple Archive. Kinda gas-starved this game, but Temple Archives. Because late game, you need both High Tempers and Colossus. Like, if you just go Colossus, you can just kinda overmake Vikings a little bit, and then suddenly your army is trash, because you then just have pure gateway units. Charger Lots, of course, are good, but you can't kinda go mass. Just pure Charger Lot won't win a late game engagement with Medivacs or Ghost with EMP or anything. So you kinda need both. You can't let, like, if he has a lot of Vikings, then he will get you Colossus. And then you kinda need the Temple Archives in the back, so it also forces the turn to micro a lot. Like, now he has to focus fire, not only focus fire Colossus, but he also has to EMP Sentries and High Templars and the rest of your army. And he kinda has to do this while he's actually kiting Charger Lots. So Charger Lots late game are also very good. So yeah, you need to kinda get both, and if it's too hard for you to micro, like, yeah, toss a move, blah blah blah. There's nothing shame in that. Like, lower levels, then it's okay. Then you kinda don't need to get the Storm, but just morph a couple of High Templars into Archons. If you go Charged Archon Colossus, then it's actually pretty decent, because even if the Colossus gets sniped, you still have the Archons, doing splash damage on the bio while they are kiting your Charger Lots. And sometimes even your Charger Lot, like, you can use the Archons to focus fire clumped up Vikings, and then they will disappear pretty fast, because, like, you have 5 Archons and then they shoot once or twice, and then suddenly you have killed like 10 Vikings because they were too clumped up or something. So you can, like, there's nothing wrong with morphing them into Archons. Like, Storm is more efficient, but like, overall I would say that Archons are still good enough to win most battles. It's not like you're going to lose a battle in Diamond or in Low Master because of it. But I would say if you really want to become really, really good, like High Master or Pro or anything, then you need Storms. And then you need like 1 High Temper on each base, perhaps, for medevac drops, feedbacking and stuff. And then you will have a couple on a separate control group with your army, and then you like move forward, a move, puts up Guardian Shield, and then you use the other, you select the other control group, and then you start putting down Storms. Focus fire with Stalkers if he doesn't have too many Vikings either. So yeah, just my thoughts on how a late game ball should be. Just having like that ultimate F-ball with both AO, splash dealers or whatever, is like the optimal way of playing PvT. So yeah, again, my third hero actually morphed into Archons. Again, I am unfortunately a very A-move type of guy, and yes, it works in mid and even against some high monsters. But yeah, I should probably learn to control a little bit better. Shame on that. Should take those gases. Yeah, go gas. Here I'm just going to fast forward a little bit. Pretty sure I'm taking my 4th base a little bit later. And yeah, he isn't really trying to contest this tower for some reason. I'm not sure why, but this is pretty much the only thing which I have as scouting right now, because I'm using the Robo for Colossus. And he sniped my observer, and he has a missile turret to kill any further observers. So if he just like had denied me this tower with a Marauder or something, then I would start to feel slightly uneasy, because I don't know when he's actually on my ramp and stuff. Scouting me with scan, blah blah blah. Some cannons here. They're just kind of precautionary stuff. I move a little bit out ahead. And yeah, now I get my fort, and then I do another thing which is pretty important in late game. Mass up extra gateways. When you are like hitting max, you can often start like piling up resources to 3000, and then when you lose an engagement you can't really use them. And what you should do then is, like, the moment you hit max, or when you're getting close to max, you should just put down a ton of production facilities. Because the advantage Protoss has is that instead of taking those seconds producing the actual unit, you have those seconds of cooldown on your warp gates to the next unit. It's like a kind of mirrored cyclus, or whatever you want to call it, which pretty much means that if we have like 30 warp gates, then we can warp in 30 charge slots instantly after or in an engagement. So we can have 30 more charge slots covering for these Colossus, or we can, like, if we lose an engagement, we can instantly, like, we get 5 high tempers and 25 charge slots, and by the time he's actually hitting our base, we can have that plus a couple of Colossus if we go double robo. So, and it's pretty much like you can lose a battle and still win because of this mechanic. You can't lose it badly though. Like if you kill like half his army and half is still remaining, then he probably will win you anyway. But it gives you a kind of good advantage in battles and slightly in defenders as well. Although the defenders' advantage isn't all that big compared to Terran, but still, just putting down a bunch of gateways. I would say another robo as well, so you can go double robo Colossus or immortal or whatever you want to do it. Having a high templar just back in reserve is always nice, so that like if you lose and he's countering, you can have storm and 20 charge slots. And if you then get a money storm and 20 charge slots, you will probably win with a counter or something. So yeah, just mass up production, more, even more probably than in this game. Like I got like 14 or 15 in the end, I think, but even more is pretty good. And as I said, like you can warp them in immediately, and the next wave of course will have a cooldown, but the current wave you're actually warping in doesn't. You don't have build time for that. You have the build time for the next wave, which isn't always. I don't think that's going to help your opponent a whole lot. So yeah, try to abuse that. And like it's not only Protoss doing that, but like it's like kinda like Zergs stockpiling larva once they reach max, so that once their army dies, if they should lose, then they can always kind of remax with the resources they have available. And this is kind of the same, just with warp gate technology. So yeah, so you can eventually flood your opponent. And here I go in. He has 2-2 versus 3-2, so I'm ahead in upgrades, which is like you can see, just these charge lots just won't die. They just never ever die. And this Viking count is kind of low, so it takes some time for him to kill the Colossus as well. So combined with the durable charge lots and the Colossus doing damage, I'm kind of like really hurting him. Now, yeah, he doesn't win this one. It's okay, it cleans up my Colossus, but I still have like 2 Immortals and stuff with better upgrades versus these Marauders. In the end, they managed to snipe it, and it cleans up this army, but the thing is now, like, this is all he has left. Like, he has lost all his high-tech units and everything, and unlike his 145 minerals, I have 1500 minerals banked, which I can use because I have all these coming warp gates. So we're going to see here, warp, go. And not only that, but I also have double Robo Colossus production. And you can see, this was 1 warp in. I got 4 Archons and all these charge slots in 1 warp in, and he still has this. Now I should probably make a closer proxy pound so I can just, with the first wave, I could just roll him. Like, these can't really win, no. I could just roll him pretty much with the first warp in. But instead, I still have a more massive production, so I just get a couple of warp ins, almost remaxing on a couple of them, and getting those 2 first Colossus and then I just pretty much move in and kill him. That's pretty much how the game ends. So yeah, as you can see, I can just warp in insane amounts. Now I have 2 High Templars with Storm. I have 4 Archons. I have some Stalkers. I have a lot of Charge Lots, and I even have 2 Colossus. Kind of just almost remaxed on a couple of waves. And he's sitting here with like 1 Ghost and 3 Vikings, and my High Templars are late to the party, but still, boom, Storms, and he pretty much has nothing. I still did 2 Colossus, so boom, boom. And now he has a few Ghosts pretty much to counter Colossus. It's like, what? It's not going to help him much, and yeah, so I just grill a few SCVs, and he can't really afford losing that. Some Medivacs losing, and they're pretty vital, so... And here comes another wave. Woohoo! Charge loss. Again, I should probably have a closer proxy pylon so that these would instantly just flood the entire area, killing 1 Ghost, because 1 Ghost can't kill this many charge lots. But yeah, you get the point. Just flood them, flood them, flood them. Just overrun them, kind of like Zerg does, just with charge lots instead of Zerglings. And yeah, OP. Yeah, sure. So yeah, this is what I wanted to say about late game. I've covered drops, I've covered mid game, I've covered early game, and I think actually I think that's it for pretty much for my PvT walkthrough. Again, like there are all-ins, but the general idea behind them is you want to expand, so just open with, like, for example, the MC1 gate, poke, and if you suspect, like if you see Marines in a bunker, then you pretty much know he's not necessarily all-inning, but he's definitely going 1-1, and he won't have like a scary bio army early. So then you can just go perhaps even Robo before the 2 additional gates. You can cut a lot of units and just focus on eco, focus on tech, and then like slightly before he hits, then you just pump out 5 gates worth of production and Robo and everything, just pump. For the record though, Stargate is also pretty good against 1-1 because it completely denies Banshee He's. It can lift up tanks if you go Phoenix, and a Phoenix is cheaper than a tank, so, and tanks are also pretty cost efficient, so regardless of how much tanks cost, they will definitely do a lot of damage, more than what a Phoenix is worth sacrificing, so that's something to think about as well. Other than that, Stargate's pretty gimmicky. I suppose you can just go... I'm just going to do a small comment on Mac. Now, I'm not going to discuss whether it's viable or not. I'm just going to say that... Mech gets hard countered by Stargate pretty much. Immortals and Stargate units are the most efficient units against it. Because the problem with Mech is that he doesn't have that sick anti-air like Marines. Marines are the best anti-air pretty much. And yeah, this is against my teammate there, cheer up. He just wanted to try Mech after, I think he saw the daily, which Day 9 did on Mech. Weakness and strength, so yeah, check that out. But yeah, just opening standard. And you're going to see like, Taurs are pretty good, Hellions are pretty good, because Hellions pretty much nullifies Salads and Charge Lots entirely, and Stalkers against a couple of tanks and a lot of Taurs are pretty darn bad. Stalker Colossus is often not cutting it. It's not a lot of times it won't just work. Especially if he has like Banshees and Vikings to snap your Colossus, and then your Stalkers are just helpless getting crushed by tanks and Taurs. So in straight up engagement, that won't work. Then again, a lot of people counter Mech with its with mobility. Like tanks and Taurs and stuff are not fast units; they're pretty slow, and tanks need to siege up and all that jazz. So you can always like blink in and just ruin his entire production, and yeah, he pretty much loses because of that. But if you want, like, that's one way to counter it. But as Day 9 said, tanks are pretty down cost efficient, so like if you split them up correctly and position them correctly, I think you can hold off this. But yeah, it's pretty much a competition of map awareness, unit control, and positioning and stuff. So it becomes kind of a map control war, if you want to call it that. So yeah, some bunch of heroes, blah blah blah. But if you want to actually face it head on, then I'm actually going to recommend Stargate. Simply because Taurus anti-air are horrible against anything else than Mutalisk. Like, Mutalisk, they're good against Mutalisk because Mutalisk are light and they clump up a lot. But against armored targets which don't clump up all that much, Taurus anti-air is just horrible. Vikings are decent, but with proper Stalker or Archon support, then you can pretty much nullify them as well. Like, Archons splash damage into Vikings, Stalkers focus fire on Vikings. Like, as long as you protect your carrier somewhat decently, then mech kinda gets raped. Or you can actually go High Templar. If you reach like 4 bases and stuff, then you can actually see Hungan sometimes uses High Templar on carriers, even against Bio. Now I'm not going to comment on that, like if it's good enough, but it's especially against mech, I would say that's pretty good, because Storm totally denies Vikings, and because siege tanks are so immobile and stuff, they can't really retreat. So like, he can retreat the Vikings from the Storm and then everything else dies, or he cannot and the Viking dies. So yeah, carriers, like, yeah, they're pretty useless normally. They're kind of a niche unit, but overall, getting carriers when you are 3 or 4 bases and in the late game, it's just good. Of course, he completely, my opponent, my teammate, doesn't get a lot of Vikings this time, so I can't really show it. And I play mechs so very scarce, like it's not often, so I can only comment on games I've seen pretty much. But still, the point still stands. It's also very good against Magic. Magic is counter-attack, yeah, for anyone that doesn't know. So, just event like getting Void Rays and then eventually carriers just make Taurs completely useless, because air units, I'm pretty sure, have higher priority. So instead of doing 60 damage on the Stalkers and just shooting them to pieces, they will instead use 2 years on shooting Void Rays, which are armored and take a lot of time to kill. So it kind of nullifies Taurs. Tanks can't shoot air, and yeah, I would say just going Void Ray and carriers are actually pretty good against mech. Day9 commented a little bit about it as well. Like, he said, like, one of the scariest thing about mech is like if an opponent just goes mass target, like goes a lot of Stargates and just starts pumping out Void Rays and stuff. So yeah, it's just pretty good against mech, especially if you protect them, as I said. Like how much of this can actually shoot there? Okay, you got these Taurs, but Taurs do these light 16, but versus armor targets such as Void Rays, they do 8 damage with 2 weapon upgrades. Which, like, okay, it's for attacks, but still, Void Rays have 250 health for 8, or if you should say, like, if it's even on upgrades, then it's 6 multiplied with 4, which is 24. 24 damage each shot, 250 health. Then a Taur would need slightly more than 10 shots to kill 1 Void Ray. Now, of course, Void Rays sometimes tend to clump up, such as I have done here, which means that if all these Taur shoots like 3 volleys, then pretty much most of them are going to die. But it gives some protection. And if you manage to split the Void Rays up a little bit, then suddenly all these will have to shoot 5, 6, 7 times each, and then their army are dead before they actually attack ground. He has a Raven though. Raven are pretty good because they nullify Stalkers and such. I tried to engage. I know. I think he came out slightly ahead on this, but not so much. He can just A-move in. Like, I managed to hold this up, just barely. Yeah, upgrades. my upgrades are helping me a lot in this scenario. Still going Void Race. Come on, Fleet Beacon. And as you can see, like, it's not like Mech was bad against the Stalker Colossus. In fact, he, with the first, like, when I attacked into him, he pretty much came out ahead. I would say slightly, but yeah, it can stand up to it in a straight fight. But if you add this Fleet Beacon, things are going to change a whole lot. Now I just take the middle of the map, just map control and stuff, just so that he can't like sneak in on me and siege. So I just try to control the tower and stuff. Come on, fast forwarding. Go, slow computer. Yeah, I even get double cybernetics for air upgrades. Pretty hardcore. So yeah, carriers come in. Now, as I said, he's definitely lacking at the air. He doesn't go Vikings early enough, and that's his big problem. But you are going to see that I win, like, I don't win a little bit, I win like by far. And the thing is that Mech takes a long time to rebuild, so as long as you can almost kill the entire army, you don't even need to kill the entire, if you just can trade armies, then you're pretty much ahead. And if you crush their army, then you're just like years ahead. So he would need a whole lot more Vikings, and if he goes too much Viking, then his ground army is bound to suffer in some way. And like if he has little Hellions, then you can go with Charge-a-lots perhaps and stuff like that. If he has little tanks, maybe Stalkers and Archons and yeah, whatnots. So yeah, I get in my 4th base, trying to set up my 5th. Some Banshee he did harass there, and I have 3 carriers. And he has like 9 Taurs. But even so, these 3 carriers will win those 3 Taurs. Simply because Taurs just can't kill. They can somewhat kill interceptors, but killing the carriers with 450 health is not going to happen. They just have to shoot like endless amount of volleys to actually threaten this. Now I just A-move in. I know my carriers are going to help me out here, so I will take a lot of ground losses, but it's not that bad. And okay, my Void Race dies a little bit, and he still hasn't killed 1 carrier. He's trying to kill 1 carrier with 9 Taurs, and he still doesn't manage to kill 1 single. And now boom, he has nothing left. Okay, those Banshees, he actually sniped my observer, I think, so I couldn't see them. So he's going havoc in these immortals, but still, like even after not doing anything to these Banshees, I still have 4 immortals, all these carriers, all these Void Rays, and a couple of Stalkers. And I can just reinforce, because gateway units are faster to produce than Mech are. As I said, Mech are slow, very slow. Tanks, 45 seconds. Do I have a Tor somewhere? No. But they take 60 seconds, so it's an entire minute just to produce 1 Tor. So I can just go in, kill this expansion. Yeah, it kills even a Colossus with his Banshees. But yeah, I don't really care at this point. My area army is good enough alone, so it doesn't really matter. But still, I've tried to save my immortals, so I just retreat a little bit, setting out my carriers to scare him and stuff. I got another carrier, and now he starts massing up Vikings, but it's not going to help him. Like, he has all these, he hasn't gotten time to reactor because he's probably panicking a little bit. But even so, like, to counter this amount of carriers, he's probably, and with these Void Rays, he's probably going to need something like 20 Vikings. And 20 Vikings, especially when they clump up a little bit, will die pretty fast to these Archons. And then I just add some Charge-a-lots on the ground with the immortals to pretty much take the ground fire damage, because Taurs and tanks they're pretty slow against to kill immortals and Charge-a-lots. The Hellions help out a lot though, so yeah. Still, this is the number of Viking he has, and this is not even close to enough. He's still producing a bunch of more. I'm not sure how many Vikings he gets in the end to the final engagement, but yeah, I'm maxed again. And as you see, it's slow to produce mech, so he's still only at 157 supply. And I haven't added much carriers, I've added like 1 or 2, and then I just pumped out a lot of gateway units because they're much faster to produce. And I have all these Archons, because carriers actually cost a lot of minerals, so it still gives me some gas for Archons. And then I attack in again. He has this number of Vikings, it's 5... 13 Vikings. 13 Vikings. Okay, yes, 13 Vikings. Now let's see how much are left after my final engagement. It was 13 Vikings, and he killed. I'm not even sure he killed one. He probably killed. Okay, maybe I killed one, and then Archons and the carriers killed 13 Vikings. So yeah, that just goes to show that. Oh, I probably had the upgrade advantage as well, I believe, yeah. But even so, like, just having this support with the carriers just makes them so good against mech. Only bad thing about carriers versus mech is that they're slow to produce, so they kind of have the same problem as mech, but as long as you remake the support to them, then it's pretty good. So yeah, I suppose the overall story is just if you want to break them head on, then go carriers. If you don't, then you should probably get a couple of Warp Prism, fly around on each base, warping in, and then have Blink Stalkers in addition to that. So you have like both Warp Prism and Blink Stalker and just blink around. And then you get some Colossus and stuff just to sit in your main, so that when he finally attacks with his all-inish attack, because you have harassed him so much, then you pretty much trade with him, and then you will eventually come out ahead because you have done so much damage with the harass. So yeah, that's just kind of how to handle mech, at least from my limited experience. As I said, it's not something I meet often, so I guess this is it for the PvT wrap up. So yeah, then the next one is going to be about PvP 11 gate into 3 gate pressure, an opening which I found to be very, very good in the matchup, and maybe even better than my last triple stalker 4 gate and stuff, simply because it's even more economical and can still kind of fulfill the same purposes. But yeah, I'm going to talk more about that later, so bye.